happiest days in the life of a man who owns a boat is the day he buys his boat and the day he sells his boat.
Everything in between is awful.
Yes. Yes. As somebody who grew up with a boat, yes.
Wow.
That
sounds like privilege.
it is. So let's actually talk about the match at hand. One, of course, going to come out on the Sombra here. It's honestly paid off pretty well for them. And yeah, hack on WUSIK, just the pressure does not end. Eventually, he will crumble. Xingjiang Bao now going to take the heat. He will go down. So Nova MS pretty clean in this opening fight here. Really just, you know, executing as they would like to be.
And we talk about Nova playing in an expected fashion. Well, this is pretty expected too. Sombra, Goats has been their go-to for most of the tournament. One, obviously, playing most of those flex picks. So this is also something where you're not really going to get too much out of it if you're other teams watching because you know this is what they play in. That's a bit of a strange death though, so Nova, whoops.
I think one maybe underestimated how much charge Casper had there. This is actually an opening here for KIX, but that being said, Nova MS are coming up on some other ultimates. So they're more than happy to cede a bit of ground, wait for ultimates to come up, and then push back into KIX. So now with the rally, they're going to do just that. But Nexus goes down in the charge. So actually, this is KIX maintaining a bit of a lead here, but WUSIK trades all across the board. There's the EMP, though, and that could well just be the one that success is predicated upon here for Nova MS, and indeed it is. If the DPSs are dead, OYO will do the work.
Such critical timing there. Nova MS could easily have not made that play happen. You already saw two members go down by the time OYO uses Transcendence, and they're still just stalling for time, waiting until one gets back with the EMP. He finally does.
Yeah.
And they just kind of barely win that one. KIX had an opportunity and it passed them.
I think it's a lot of confidence as well that you're the better team to actually be willing to do that. Commit a Transcendence with only 4 members alive, and now Transcendence, speaking of, to counter out Crazy S's Graviton Surge, the Shatter out from Nexus as well. Not really getting much connection, so KIX actually have an opportunity here again. They got ultimates to work with. First the grab, nothing to answer it as well. Not quite able to get the sound barrier off there as Jervis, so Nova MS can end up taking the L here.
This is now KIX winning their first team fight here. Note they're also running both main tanks. WUSIK on the Winston and Bravolab on the Rhine. Now Primal Rage and Earthshatter both available. This is going to be very interesting. No Diva also does mean you don't have that extra combo to use with the Graviton Surge. And Primal, well, we'll see if he can get some real environmental damage done.
Yeah, double main tank Goats was something we saw a little bit of sort of more last season. And mixed success, I dare say. But early kill on Jazzy, and this is all honestly running out pretty expected despite the shatter from Bravolab. They're not quite able to get the follow-up. He ends up going down. Nova MS. Numbers advantage easily here as WUSIK's Primal Rage runs out. There's going to be a stun on Xingjiang Bao to finish him off. So again, they're able to just execute really cleanly in these fights. They make it look so effortless.
And this is Nova, you know, they kind of drop one fight. That's okay. They still maintain ultimate charge. They come back in. Now they're very charged up. Just a sound barrier and a rally was enough to keep the whole team alive. Maybe even a little bit of spawn camping here as they've reached the 80% mark.
Casper coming up close to a grab, but it's really all they're going to have to work with here. They nearly have a Transcendence, but not in time for this EMP. Very aggressive. Nexus follows up with an Earthshatter just to make sure they'll be able to secure these kills. And as they round the bend of 90%, KIX are still losing members here, still in retreat. This is really, really rough. They're actually committing a Transcendence, and Jazzy's the only one alive there. He has to use that, though, partially to get on the point, but is going to die pretty soon after, so I don't know if KIX are even going to get back to this point as Nova MS close it out.
Now let's talk about the timing choice here for Nova MS as well. When they actually decided to go in with the EMP Shatter combo, it was nearing that 90% mark. So when they win that fight, they know that the respawns aren't going to come in time for KIX to really contest. Jazzy has to transcend onto the point, dies, and then there's no chance for KIX to sort of continue.
WUSIK was the early death that he took there, and I mean, he had been taking pressure for a really long time. It felt like it was only a matter of time until he died, so it does seem to happen a lot here for KIX.
There was a good amount of damage also into Nexus, but Nexus only got brought down to half. WUSIK was basically on one and hacked out by one, funny enough, and KIX... Oh, thank you. And KIX, you know, they just had no way of really getting back in there. Once your main tank is that low, he's basically as good as dead. You have to throw a lot of resource back into him, but a bit of a reset. Xingjiang Bao now going to be on his own Sombra, and this is also quite standard for KIX. They do play a lot of Sombra Goats too.
Yeah, and also KIX back off the main, double main tank Goats, so that means Casper back on Brigadier duty. About first casualty though, and I mean, Nova MS can just kind of have a bit of a field day here. So many squishy members that they can just cut apart. OYO finds one in the form of Xingjiang Bao. WUSIK now still on the point, still taking heat, will eventually go down to one of one's rockets.
This is just Nova picking KIX apart. I mean, straight out the gates, as soon as the first person walked onto point, straight away goes down. Bravlev, Wushik both going to change up here. We're going to maybe see some more pressure against specifically one as Zafara because Casper's on a Widow or now on a Zafara himself, so wants to really take the fight to the skies.
Casper the Friendly Ghost, do they ever mention how he died? Because he's like a kid ghost, clearly. What happened?
Look, medicine wasn't easy to get a hold of back in the day, and, well, what can I say?
It's 1-for-1 so far in this fight. Both the Pharaohs getting one, so speaking of one. Giving the pressure on, finds his counterpart in Casper. Going to be turned into a ghost. Crazy S does go down, so it still trades. But Nova MS don't mind trades here because they're the ones in possession of the point. The pressure's on KIX to do better than just trades.
And we need to see some pressure from KIX to actually force these in there.
Well, that was a 1-for-1 again.
But you might get a res in here pretty soon.
Bravlev is able to put on a lot of pressure. Oyo might be in trouble here if he's not careful, but Bravlev does also have to be careful himself, is to keep a bit of distance. Bubakar getting picked as the res comes in on Jazzy. So actually KIX, just as they say, it seems they're finally getting a numbers advantage. They lose Bravlev. Traded back, Crazy S down, KIX are finally forcing Nova MS back a little bit, but in all this time, they still actually hadn't got the point. They're only just capping now.
And this is where Nova, they lose one quite early, and then they don't get the chance to resurrect him back in from Jervis, so they just permanently have him gone for the time being. Oyo, unfortunately, doesn't really find a counter trade either. I'm not a really big fan of Hanzo in these compositions anyway for this kind of map. And now Nova kind of had to wait for the re-push, EMP in hand pretty soon, but Xing Jingpao's got it first.
Well, I'm a fan of Hanzo, so there. Casper taking a lot of pain there. One more rocket would leave him done for, but nice EMP. Takes one out of the skies, and grounded as he is, the bird's going to get finished off. Jervis as well. Nexus taking a right-click hack in a bit of trouble, will go down as well, so KIX maintain control for now.
A decent stagger is on Oyo. Jazzy gets res back in, so instant reinforcement for KIX's side, all 6 available. And this is now a decent amount of catch-up, 20% more to be able to really even it up with Nova MS in terms of objective. And this is the sort of point where Nova, you expect them to really be able to turn things around. They have their own EMP, they have some decent ultimates, it's time to use them.
Took KIX a very long, protracted engage as well to actually get that cat back, so they've actually won more fights than Nova have right now on City Center. Nova, like you said, with the ultimates available, looking for the EMP, goes straight up, does not quite catch Casper, but they do get our bow. That's going to keep him a little bit closer to the ground than he would like to be, but both Sombra is dead for the time being. Rez is not coming through, can't come through now as Jervis gets picked, now Oyo as well, and KIX keeping on top of this one.
And here's the thing, Arbel didn't go down. Yes, he was EMP'd out, but Casper was still in the air. As soon as Arbel recovers, he jumps back in, flies up to the far, and then suddenly KIX is back in action.
Aerials, man. This is now rounding the bend of 90% here for KIX, so things honestly going really well. Nova MS have yet to have that same just out-fragging success as they had in the opening skirmish.
I think Nova are feeling the pressure now as well. Oyo's realizing that Hanzo's not doing too much, so out comes the Moira. Here comes a pulse bomb. I don't think it's going to land.
Yeah, not quite getting the mark, but Crazy S will find his on Sheng Jian Bao. Mark, I mean, the pulse bomb's still available for him if he wants to toss it out, and may not even need to at this point. They are finally starting to get that out-fragging. Casper taking some heat. Not quite dead, but all the members that were on the ground are now dead, and Casper going to join them, so Nova MS will take control back.
And it's just insane, you know, Nova MS start to play something slightly more standard, you know, back on a Winston with the Moira as well, double healers. It's essentially, it's a 3-1 to this one tank only, but now they have the position of the point. They have ultimates as well. KIX need to get a lot done here. KIX are very much in a position where they can still turn things around, cap this out, and put us to a 1-on-1.
Nova MS. They're now rounding the bend of that final fight territory, so it's pressure back onto KIX now, who actually did hold control for quite a long time.
They don't want to waste too much time getting back, and they want to force these fights early if possible.
Double Valkyrie. It's going to be Bravlev taking a hack. Does not quite die just yet. Casper gets one, but this rocket barrage doesn't go down either, so KIX at an advantage for the time being. A lot of members in trouble. Bravlev down, though. There's going to be a pulse bomb out. Doesn't quite find what it's looking for, but one in the sky is keeping pressure on, and Jervis able to get the res in our bow. Not quite having that same success.
Oh,
KIX
no.
Not quite keeping pressure on the point itself. They were starting to lose that fight out anyway, but Nova MS nonetheless will take the win.
And I think you start to look at the side of KIX, and you know, maybe the last rocket barrage comes through from Casper, maybe picks up one on the other end, and suddenly, you know, the fight turns. I think the opportunities were certainly available. It's a real shame that it has to end this way, because you've got to imagine, and we get to maybe see it again, that if the point pressure was still there, they didn't allow the overtime to tick through, this could have been very competitive.
I mean, here's the thing. You lose Bubuka early, you don't have an EMP to come into play. Xingjiang Bao will have an EMP. They've so far traded, but they start to lose the actual presence on the point itself, and that's where things start to fall apart for this team. The trades come through, and they're not really ready in position. They were almost there, but just not quite. The time was a fraction off.
And just a quick correction is there was actually one that had the rocket barrage. So actually Nova's still even more, a little bit more stacked. But I think the EMP maybe could have still made it, a bit more of a difference.
I think so.
You just want to see the possibility being there. You never really want to see a team just kind of lose because they stepped off the point. But that's unfortunately how this cookie ends up crumbling for KIX, and you start to run out of opportunities once you're one map down. And we've been in a scenario where we say, look, underdog teams, when they're in these matchups, the first map on control is typically the closest. And I would say that probably will end up being true today as well.
Yeah, let's be honest. Nova is well on top of that, what we've kind of considered to be a bit of a slow starter team as well. Like often the first, even 2 maps are kind of their weaker ones. And I mean, look, if they're able to steer through that one, even with City Center going 99 to 99, even if that went the way of KIX, you'd certainly feel confident in Nova maybe picking up the last map there and still winning Oasis. So look, in theory, it only gets harder here for KIX on multiple levels.
Yeah, it's just about the opportunity. It's just about the confidence level of, we actually got around here, or we have the possibility of winning. Whereas now you're gonna have to go into map number 2, which will be back on Eichenwalde, and kind of think, oh, it's now a fully resetted map. Got to work ourselves up from square one, back to the drawing board, and off the cuff, you got to have a lot more confidence in Nova in a lot of these situations, even though we know them to be, like you mentioned, a slow starting team. Well, I think in this case, they can be as slow as they want and possibly still get there.
I still think of Eichenwalde as a new map. Just throwing that out there. That's my sparkling addition to this.
This little time capsule nostalgia right there for you.
I don't know why. It's
it's not.
So I know I'm getting old.
I don't know how to break it to you.
When things I recall as being like still very new, I was like, what? It came out in like 2007. That's not right. I mean, Eichenwalde didn't quite come out in 2007. That's an over-exaggeration. But it was 2017, wasn't it? I think it was.
It came out.
Time flies.
Did it come out the same time as the Reinhardt cinematic? I just can't remember.
I mean, yeah, it was around the same time. It was out before the cinematic, I think, strictly speaking.
I think you're right. Yeah, there was.
It was one of the first maps out.
I can't remember.
Can't remember.
Oasis was the first map out.
No.
Post-release.
Are you
Post-release.
Sure? I thought Eichenwalde was before Oasis. I'm very confused.
Now I don't know anymore.
Very confused. No, it's too far. It's too long ago. It
feels
feels recent, but it's also too long ago.
Havana's coming out. Come on.
Woo! I still
going to South America.
I've still barely seen Paris, and suddenly Havana's coming out as well. It's actually not South America; it's the Caribbean, but that's fine.
Whatever, man.
I mean, what do you mean, whatever? It's like Central America. It's very different.
Very fine.
It's like saying
it's right next door to Rialto. Don't worry about it.
It's like saying Southeast Asia when what you really mean is Siberia.
You said Volskaya was in the Arctic Circle. We don't.
It might
know
be.
That.
It's more likely to be in the Arctic Circle than Havana is to be in South America.
You know what you said yesterday? You're like, no, wait, Eichenwalde in Germany.
Well, I was considering whether it might be in Austria, but then I realized that no, it is definitely not in Austria. Even though Austria was once upon a time considered a Germanic state, it is not currently Germany, nor will it ever be.
Nor is it in Overwatch.
I think Austria does exist in Overwatch. Like, there's just this hole in the middle of Europe. Just no Austria. Sorry. I'm pretty sure they have mentioned.
Land now it's been taken.
I'm pretty sure they have actually mentioned Vienna in some piece of lore. So theoretically, Austria still exists. But look, Germany definitely exists. That means Eichenwalde definitely exists. And well, this match it still exists. So we'll have to see how it pans out.
For what it's worth, Paris is a bunker fest, so you're not missing out on much. That's true.
It's actually what the real Paris is like as well.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
You can make it that what you will. Paris.
I don't know how to make it. I've never been to the
Paris, the city where you pay €9 for an espresso.
What does that have to do with bunkers?
I don't know, I just think it's overrated. You know, there's actually They're actually facilities because I don't know, apparently Japan really loves France. They find it super exotic. And there are facilities for people who visit Paris and have it not live up to their expectations. That's a real thing. They've got a word for it. I don't know what the word is, but they've got one. Yeah, disappointment kind of covers it, right? But anyway.
Tell you what, Nova will be disappointed if they don't win this one. And after a
definitely
little
would
bit of early scouting, one's
Changing.
going to go on to fire. And that's interesting because it's a defensive fire as well, and you could actually snipe this map if you wanted to, but Nova, like, we're pretty confident in the air based on Oasis, so let's do that again.
Yeah, and they've also got that extra little bit of pick potential on the ground in the form of Crazy S on the Roadhog. So, I mean, you get a good hook onto someone like Jazzy, Xingjian Bao. There's some real potential here.
Yeah, it's on the defensive side, you have Bravlev on the Diva, and he gets hooked in pretty early.
Yep, that's some shots. That's going to be a D-Mech as well. Crazy S just going to take a quick breather, top back off, and now it's going to be pressure on the skies. Doesn't quite catch the hook on our Bao, sleep as well, but our Bao's still going to go down. Crazy S just taking a nap while the rest of the fight plays out in Nova's favor around him. They don't even need the guy. He can just sleep through the work.
I actually was going to say that if Bravlev survives, yeah, you know, the Diva actually has a lot of value against a fire on the other side with the defense matrix, but because it goes down super
he didn't
early,
survive.
I mean, that just didn't end up happening for them. Nova very comfortably now take away the A point. Over 5 minutes to push into B. No real swaps coming through just yet from anybody.
Just like Steve Rogers, that's a cap.
KIX and Oyo, well, Jazzy and Oyo both working on the Nano Boost as well, and you're likely to see that go on to the Winstons. Casper going to actually finally make that change onto the McCree. Not interested in the aerial door, he wants to take him down from the ground.
I once heard someone call it Bano Noost in a game of Overwatch I was playing, and I can't not hear that every time I think of Nano Boost. Nice translocate away is going to save Bubukar's life there, but Crazy S not going to be quite so lucky. So, well, they're looking for a res. They are actually going to get that res, and a nice leap on Wusik as well. So, this is a little bit of a rough start for KIX. Hack on Bravlev means he gets demeched and picked off very fast, and that means that is a free rocket barrage for one. We'll pick up 3 kills for his trouble. And KIX not really going to last very long in that position.
And the problem is they had so much going for them on the KIX side as well because they got the early kill. They could have prevented the res. That didn't happen. They had a hack onto one but couldn't secure that kill, so that didn't happen. It's just a lot of, well, it was nearly there but not quite for KIX, and this EMP now needs to actually be pretty good because Bubukar also has one of his own.
Jazzy's sleeping. Casper's dead.
It's a different kind of sleeping.
Yeah. Now Arbao as well. There's that EMP out though from Xingjian Bao. They still want to commit because they got Primal Rage, but it's going to be a very tall order. They only get one on Bubukar. Crazy S is sleeping, but even with that, they're still able to get some good kills. Wusik finally gets one, but Nexus is trying to match that aggression on the back line here. So, honestly, this is still Nova MS actually moving forward bit by bit. Eventually, Wusik, Primal Rage running out. He's going to go down, and Nexus getting a late kill on Bravlev means KIX are still slowly but surely losing presence and pressure on this point.
The big problem is KIX is just so split up right now. You can see Casper, he's not being pocketed. He has no support by him. Very fortunate to actually get a kill here, and I think that might be the last kill he gets.
Yeah, most likely. May stay on the McCree, who's to say, but at any rate, Nova MS will get this cap. Oh, the last strikes from Wusik.
It's a good amount of stall, you have to give credit.
Yeah, a lot of time off the clock.
And that does count for something as we eventually do see the cap 440 on that timer. Nova, it's not going to be a record-breaking push if KIX can help it, but I mean, it's now at least going to be Nova pushing an EMP at the hand. It could still be very good, and KIX have to be very vigilant about this.
Nova MS, though, they're just going to go ahead, swap to something a bit more stock standard. They're keeping the Farah in for now because they obviously feel close enough to a rocket barrage that they could combo with an EMP. They maybe want to get some mileage out of that, but I imagine after that, one will probably swap as well.
So this Nano Boost is going to be very important. Once the EMP comes through, Jazzy should realistically be hiding. Nano Wusik straight away if possible.
Speaking of Nano, Jazzy able to commit his one out, but that's a really big EMP. They haven't quite got the kills yet, so finding the rocket barrage coming in, it picks up 2. It was a sleep dart kill, I guess. I can't say I've ever seen that on a kill feed before, but hey man, came to pass, and one gets just raised back up from that deep, deep slumber of his, so Nova MS still just keeping the pressure on here.
Now, sadly outplayed. I mean, everything started to go well once again for KIX. I mean, they had the right moves to make, but Oyo getting the sleep onto Wusik too big.
Last couple of members here from KIX on the payload, not lasting very long. They do get one back on Bubukar, but it's looking like that's all they'll get. And Jervis is here with a potential res anyway, and might not even need that. Just 2 meters to go, and the last few members going down. 0.32 now as Jazzy touches, but it only runs down just a few more seconds off the clock as Nova MS will complete.
And Nova just get to kind of do whatever they like here, you know, even running far road deep into that C point. You'd think you'd have to be forced to swap off, and Casper was even playing McCree for a decent amount of time before swapping onto the Diva. For KIX, it was a decent token resistance, but they're going to need a little bit more. They're on the offense now, and they're going to need to blitz through because, I mean, Nova finished the map with a very acceptable, very respectable time.
Wearing a Pharah on point C is kind of like wearing sunglasses indoors. It's like, I mean, it seems pointless, but if it works for you, I guess.
So you got to have the right amount of cool status.
Dude, I'm not even cool enough to wear sunglasses outdoors.
Yeah, well, that's the first step. On that cool meter, you eventually get so cool that if you don't wear sunglasses indoors, it's like, oh, wait a minute.
I own 2 pairs of sunglasses, and one of them is actually my sister's. I bought her Carroll for her, and one day I was driving, it was sunny, and I was like, I wish I had sunglasses. And then I was like, you know what? I bet my sister kept sunglasses in this car, and you know what? She did. So now they're my sunglasses. Just thought I'd share that little anecdote from my life, folks.
Always good to...
Now, my second pair of sunglasses I came into possession.
And what'd you call that one? Do you have a name?
Gregory. Gregory sunglasses.
So,
yep, there's really not a lot
to know. Good to know, man. Nova MS on the defense.
Do you own sunglasses? I've never seen you wearing them.
Somewhere.
I like to imagine that you've got like
I am,
small...
so that's the thing, I am cool enough to wear them, I just choose not to.
Yeah, because you're cool enough that you don't have to wear them to be cool.
KIX are going to run standard here, nothing too special, but they are going up against one on the forest, so they need to maybe look to answer. The Winston is going to be a start. This will probably just be a bit of a test on the push, but see how far they get on the test.
It does kind of feel like Crazy S was maybe anticipating something like a Pharah coming out on the attack, which isn't there, but honestly it still provides enough DPS that they're okay with it. It can really keep some damage on these tanks, especially when you consider Bravalav out of the mech means there's even less that they can do to stop those bullets from raining down from Crazy S, and the damage just starts to become insurmountable for KIX.
This is a bit of a turkey shoot at the moment. I mean, you got 2 long-range attackers. If that's not enough, Boo Boo Cars also flexing on the sides. You got WooSick just in no man's land right now, and for KIX, I think they may need to change. I say they may need to change, but in theory, their like, comp should be able to beat Novas.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, you can run a Widow against one and Jervis at the start, and actually a Widow does plenty well against both Crazy S and OU as well, so I think you got reasonable argument to say that 1 pick can have value against 4 picks on Nova's side.
Or you can just keep playing 3-3 all the time.
And that works for some teams.
Yep.
I just don't know if that will work right now.
I don't know that a lot of things work for KIX, but WooSick going down, that is at least a trade with Nexus. Big EMP though, plus that Rocket Barrage, plus the Tactical Visor, more than enough to pick up these kills and force KIX back again. Nova MS more than happy to throw everything in the kitchen sink at that fight, because I mean, it's not like KIX are coming up on any ultimates yet.
And that's the thing, Nova is so cool. Not only do they get to run a Pharah on point C attack of Eichenwalder, but they also get to play a soldier where he drops down a tactical visor, which is like the next level of sunglass that you can have, because it actually does stuff.
Dude looks like Cyclops from X-Men, and we all know he's the coolest X-Man.
Even cooler than Iceman.
Exactly.
Here comes KIX for that next attempt, and still working on that Graviton Surge, which could be a win condition. Casper's got to live, though.
Yeah, he does, for now.
Big bio
grenade. Decent biotic grenade. Bravalav, though, out of the mech, will be allowed to... Oh, no, not quite getting back in it. One able to get that 1 extra rocket in. Bubakar is the trade, though. Crazy S taking a lot of heat, so... Oh, yo, a little bit low. They're able to finish him off, and suddenly Nova MS not as hot in this fight as they maybe want to be, as these ultimates are starting to come up now for KIX. Res in, but KIX are the ones getting kills. And I think Nova MS, they do see the writing on the wall. They do know that, short of some insane frags, maybe out of one and Bubukar, this will probably start to go the way of KIX, who, for what it's worth, still have ultimates at their disposal.
And I want to see the confidence level and the respect level out of Nova as well, because they had both Barrage and EMP available, and if they were feeling very confident about the situation, they could have committed both, but the respect being given says they know that it would have been very risky, and they're going to hold on to both for now, this opening B defense instead.
And that's the thing. I think the only thing that was maybe unfortunate is they stuck around for very long when they weren't obviously going to commit those ultimates, and now they do give up a little bit of extra space to KIX.
And KIX still get to keep this Graviton Surge pushing forward. Very important to try and catch some of these very slippery members. We'll see how Bubakar wants to play this EMP. Already got a hack onto Bravalav.
Going to find himself re-subjected to gravity. Nice sound barrier there actually out from our bow, and they've largely answered what Nova MS were pulling out. Casper really bringing the pain. It does end up going down, but honestly, KIX, they made enough headway in this fight. They've removed a lot of the kill pressure there on the side of Nova MS. We're actually going to have to go ahead and swap largely onto a 3-3 of their own.
And this is where Nova MS right now, like you mentioned, about to swap onto other picks, seeing if
cool
Bubakar
enough.
wants to join them. But because it's kind of interesting because you normally expect Bubakar and One to swap sides in terms of what roles they're playing, but Bubakar's got a little bit of charge, so it's going to keep that. KIX keeping momentum forward as well, just wants to keep getting that cart forward.
Look at that, Nova MS trying to keep the pressure on. Nexus takes a lot of pain, and KIX are actually running pretty cleanly and smoothly right now in terms of their ultimate economy. Cycling through one and more, and Crazy S not really finding anything with that self-destruct aside from DMEC and Gravelav, and Nova MS suddenly don't have anything else left to go on. KIX are preserving a lot of ultimates in these fights as well, so a lot of this is just out fragging.
Very good snowballing here from KIX, and Nova, the only thing they've got to work with is that EMP that they've been charging up for a while. I mean, they also have the Transcendence, and they're going to need that versus the Graviton Surge, but the fact that KIX have been able to keep that for so long and continue winning is a big deal.
Bit of a last gasp here from Nexus.
Trent's gone.
Oh yeah, Oyo coming in, but to the rescue here. Grav coming out. Self-destruct laid up. Jervis in a lot of trouble here. There they go. The bump on Jervis, the kill on Oyo with the self-destruction. Again, Bubukar's had an EMP for a while, but they've never really had a good opportunity to commit it in these last couple of fights, so they're just going to have to hold that again and probably let this B-cap go over the way of KIX.
And this is where now KIX, if they continue the momentum and snowball onto C, they can definitely finish this time, to this map rather, and with maybe a respectable time as well. It's not going to be as big as Nova MS's time bank, but getting to the time bank has to be key.
That's only if they can get there, because for the first time in quite a while, KIX's ultimate economy is not ahead of Nova's, given that that EMP is available there.
Watch Arbal.
Have to really connect well, but with Wusik already dead, Nova MS might just be the ones who outfrag in this fight, and that is huge for them. They can charge up even more ultimates and really start to anchor this defense again.
And you're seeing Nova MS now just resetting pace a little bit, just saying slow down the game, get together, regroup, all 6 walk in together. Don't really have to use ultimates here. We know we can just frag them up because KIX have also basically run out of ultimates.
I mean, they're trying to turn this into a bit of a spawn camp here, and they kind of know they can. They do lose Oyo, but they trade back with Wusik, and Bubukar's still got an EMP. More than happy to commit it right in front of that spawn gate. Jazzy doesn't get back inside. Bravolab barely does. Might have been a little overzealous, but it's still time being run off the clock, and it's still ultimates being charged up for Nova.
I think that is punishable, though, because you didn't get either support ultimate out of KIX, where 4 of the members just walk back into spawn.
Nexus.
And that's a bigger punish because that's overstay from Nova now.
Nice bump onto Wusik, though, but still, Jervis is going to go down. And you do wonder what on earth Nexus is doing that far forward, hanging around for way too long. Crazy S going to go down as well, so KIX not only getting back on the horse, but galloping forward as well.
And now Nova MS waiting for those respawns, waiting for those ultimates. They do have good defensive ones. They should be able to dig their heels in, and KIX needs to find some massive connections on their attacking ults.
That's the thing. KIX have actually been able to charge up just enough that they could well push this one through. Grav out, counter Shadow, all a little bit ski whiff right now. No one getting the better of the trade. Shadow now out from the other side of things. Wusik not getting much success either. Finally, Sound Barrier out from Jervis, but Crazy S, the first casualty, immediately traded with Wusik, and suddenly the fight just explodes into action as Oyo gets himself 3. Bubakar going to pick up Jazzy as well, and Nova MS. Again, a line being drawn in the sand, and when all's said and done, when all ultimates are used, the dust settles and KIX are dead.
And that's the issue for KIX now is, because both teams have used, we're in a situation where actually EMP is about to come online, so Nova are going to get a decent amount of value in future fights, and they still have Defender's respawn advantage, and KIX, they needed possibly a dry push there, bait some ults out, really force something from Nova, and then push in with something still remaining on their side resource-wise to actually finish up the map. It's actually quite difficult now, with about 30-something seconds remaining. You need a Grav, you need a Shatter, and they don't have either.
The EMP is more than enough for Nova MS to win the fight on its own, and that's to say nothing of the Shatter they've got and the Transcendence they're likely soon going to have. So there's that EMP plus the Shatter. Nice connection. Arbal does at least get that Sound Barrier in, but it's not enough to keep all these members alive, unfortunately. Nova MS able to pick up a couple of kills now. The time really starts to run thin. KIX, if they touch that payload again, it's going to be forcing an overtime and likely trickling on.
And this time Jazzy's not going to have the Transcendence to do so, so it's not going to be him touching. Somebody else has to dive for it.
I don't think anyone is going to get there at this rate. They're still just scrapping out on the bridge. Nice area control by Nova MS, and they will be able to pick up Eichenwalder as well, 2-0 up in the series. Honestly, pretty expected.
It is, and you got to say as well, there are some very good redeeming factors coming up from KIX. We saw a decent amount of momentum from A through to B through to then C, kind of stopping expectedly at C, where most teams will kind of run out of juice and the defense really starts to ramp up. And for Nova, the fact that they were able to just finish Eichenwalde mostly unopposed on their own attack with a very respectable time bank again, it was competitive enough, but unfortunately missing the last few pieces that would actually give KIX either a time bank or even a win.
That's the thing, compared to Nova MS, who can just keep the sunglasses on when they come indoors. KIX weren't even wearing
They're about to put the second pair on.
Well, KIX weren't even wearing sunglasses outside. So they had a hard time adjusting to the light indoors, and they didn't really get very far.
Yeah.
That's how I am going to tie that analogy into the match's result.
How many stacks of sunglasses can you put on at the same time? Because Nova's just layering them on at the moment.
That was the old like Gary's mod gifs and things that people would make, with just like all these sunglasses just like being pulled off. Like, Mother of God.
Oh, let's see if KIX can pull off the greatest comeback and the greatest reverse sweep that we've seen in the season against the team that is known to be the reverse sweep kings in Nova, sitting at 2-0 at the moment. Going to take a bit of a break, but when we come back, we'll have all the answers. See you soon.